Welcome to the Land, your bet sports betting show. 5 NBA games here on Tuesday night, 3 teams on a back-to-back. We're going to be taking a look at the matchups, some insights and data that you need to help get your bets down here on Tuesday. We're going to be looking at the Swishland model projections up on landyourbets.com, see how they compare to the stuff that I'm looking at here, and go from there. So if that all sounds good, give this video a like. Let's get right into it. I am going to get into that Swishland model here in just a sec, but also going to be using propsmadness.com, the #1 sports betting research tool for all things matchups and the data that you need about recent players, how they're going to play against the defense coming up. Use promo code LYB if you do want to jump into Props Madness, 25% off your first month. Also get 7 free days if you're interested. But let's go ahead and jump into the first game here, Sixers and Wiz. And the Sixers are on the second night of a back-to-back. Very nice win against the Magic, who are struggling and do not look good with Desmond Bane right now. Still one of the worst offenses in the league, despite a really high total for the 76ers and Magic in that game. Now we've got them coming in, and Tyrese Maxey is making good on the bet that we put at the beginning of the season, 100-1 for him to lead the league in scoring. Had 43 tonight, as I'm still recording this on Monday night, against the Magic, so he's looking really good. But the key is Joel going to be back in this game? He sat against the Magic, presumably because he's just not playing back-to-backs, and they wanted to give him an extra breather, give him about 3 days off before that they get into this Wizards game. And if he does play, he played 20 minutes in the last game against Charlotte, 20 points in that game there in just the 20 minutes and just 2 rebounds. But I would be looking at the points once again, maybe like a first quarter bet for him. If that's at about 7 or 8.5 points, I think he's going to put a hurting on the Wizards if he plays, right? The 2 of the worst defensive teams against centers in the league in the Hornets and the Wizards. So I am looking for a big Joel game if he plays. This says out because it's still just him being out from Monday night. On the back-to-back, we're not sure yet. If he does not play, then I go back to something like Kelly Oubre on the rebounds, who had a huge rebounding night without Joel against the Magic here. I believe he had at least 10 boards. He might have had more, right? I know he had a double-double and a really nice game from the field as well. So I think Kelly Oubre on a back-to-back, still a good look here, and Quentin Grimes. Those are the guys I'd be looking at here on the second night against the Wizards. And for the Wizards, going back to Keyshawn George, someone said in the comments, Keyshawn George sold us. He only sold you if you took him on the points, and he had 5 fouls. He's fouled out in this game. He had 5 fouls and like 4 fouls in the first half, basically. Like, dude could not keep his hands to himself, so he didn't see very many minutes as a result, just 25 minutes. The bet that we put on him, though, is the assists. Like, I did try a little parlay with like 20-plus points and the 4 assists, but the 4-plus assists are a wagon for him. And he has 8 and then 9 potentials in just 25 minutes against Charlotte, right? And when you look at Philly's defense, I don't trust it at all. So I still think Keyshawn George is going to be in a great place to sort of come back and have a better game than he did last game. I like him on the points. I love him on the assists. If we keep getting 3.5 or plus money, even if we get 3.5 or like minus 120, I still love that number for him because I see him as essentially the second point guard. If you think CJ McCollum's the true point guard, well, I think Keyshawn George is the future. And I think they're going to have him out there in all sorts of situations when they're winning by a lot or losing by a lot, or it's neutral. They're going to have Keyshawn George out there no matter what. I trust him more than anybody else on this team, including Trey Johnson, who I do trust a ton. And if he's playing, we're going to go back to him. He was at 10.5 points in this last game. We've been taking him 15, 18 plus each time. And that's been working out great for us with Trey Johnson. So going to keep going back to that at about 15 plus if he's healthy. Both those guys getting some really, really great numbers. And I think Keyshawn George especially is going to have some depressed lines here because it looks bad the way he played against Charlotte because of the fouls, right? And if that's not baked into the number and the number doesn't consider that he should be higher, because just because he did poorly last game doesn't mean he's going to do poorly this game because it had to do with the fouls. Quick look at the model, if it agrees with us. I'm going to put Washington in here and see if it likes the guys I've been talking about. So it does have Keyshawn George still at 36 minutes. Despite playing 6 in this last game, it knows that he's still a mid-30s kind of guy for the minutes for the Wizards. 18.5 points, still like him at 4.7 assists. So this is kind of what I'm banking it on, but I should add the rebounds 9.5. That seems a little high because he's done so well on the boards. As we can see, 9, 11, 8. But the rebound chances are at 11 to 15, right, in these 2 games. And 11 rebound chances in just 25 minutes for the young forward, shooting guard, whatever you want to call him. This dude's going to be out there a lot. And I think the PRA is a good look for him. I still think we're going to get value on the assists. And if his points, they've been at like 12.5. And after scoring 6, it's probably going to be at 12.5 again. And I think he should be higher than 15 per game. And like I said, the rebounds, I don't know about 9, but if we're getting about a 4 or 5.5 rebound line for him, I'm still going to like that as well in this matchup. Pulling up the Hornets and the Heat here in Miami. Got to go back to Norm Powell. I still think at 22.5, we're getting value on him. I think this is going to go up. I imagine you're going to see us at 23. I would not be surprised if it was 24.5 by the time we get up to tip here. But I think anything 23.5 or below is good. And once we get to 23.5, I'm just going 25 plus for Norm Powell on the points. Nothing not to not like, right? The usage is massive. He had one bad game because it was 25 minutes because they beat Memphis by 32, and then 32 minutes in an 8-point win against the Knicks. Another good shooting night, 12 free throw attempts for him. So he's being aggressive. And I think Norm's going to keep being the highest usage player. I really don't want Tyler Hero to come back because I like the ability to bet on a number of these Heat players with Tyler Hero not playing. Norm is one of them for sure. And if we pull up his projections here on LYB on landerbets.com, we pull up Miami stuff here. We're going to see for Norm 28 minutes, and I think that's probably a little bit low in this projection here for him, but he's going to be up there. If we look, let me get minutes projected correctly here. Get that filtered. So we've got 29 right here for Davion, and then the Norm stuff, 28. 20 points, though, for Norm. I think this is all low. Like, I still think Norm is going to have a really nice game against a really bad team in Charlotte. And I still think that the 25 minutes that he played in that game that they won by a ton, that's sort of keeping his projection lines a little bit lower. But I do like him in this one. And then the other guy is going to be Jaime Jaquez, who we do not have available right now. But Jaquez has been really, really good so far this season. If we look at the lines that he has hit so far, 13 points, 17 points, 17 points, and he's at 27 minutes or more. And the key is, even when he doesn't start, he is closing these games. And a big part of all of this is going to be that the Heat are playing at one of the fastest paces in the league. So I'm pulling up NBA advanced stats. I'm going to the advanced stats page, and I'm pulling up the pace for Miami. Number one, 109.7. And we talked about this coming into the season for those of y'all paying attention on landyourbets.com and on the channel here. The Miami Heat want to play fast this season. We talked about that before they played their first game. That was like a 235, 40 total, whatever, against, I believe, Philly. Looked really good on offense, and Jaime Jaquez has been a big reason for that. When they play in transition and when they play with speed, he has been really good. PRA, a really good look because of the usage and then the points as well. So if this PRA line continues to be at like 17.5, even 18, 19.5 for him, I still think at 27 to 30 minutes, this is going to be a good look for Jaime in this one. And if we pull up his projections here, 22 minutes, but he's got the 12.5 points. This is 16 PRA, 23, 24 PRA, right? That's what we have him projected for. So again, if we get these like 19, even 20.5 PRA lines for him, that's still beatable even in 22 minutes. And this projection feels a little bit low too for Jaime, who I think if he keeps playing the 27 plus minutes that he's been seeing, we're going to keep seeing this number rise for him in the projection as well, from 22 minutes to 25 to 27. So I think he's a really good look alongside Norm for points and for PRA for Jaquez, and the points there for Norm mostly. And then if we look at Charlotte, we're going to notice that Brandon Miller's out again, man, which sucks. Was really looking forward to Brandon Miller having his real breakout season, which he was on the verge of last year until he got hurt. Trey Mann, also questionable. I'm going right to back to the rook here in Khan. Khan Knippel, has been looking awesome. I was hoping this was still going to be 11, maybe even 12.5, but we're at 13.5 now after his 20-point outburst versus the Wizards. The Heat's allegedly a better team defensively, 4th in defensive rating so far this season, but I told you the speed that they're playing at. And if you look at where Charlotte is in speed, they're 5th. So these are two teams that come into the season knowing they want to play fast as hell, and that's what they're doing, right? And I think when they play each other, there's going to be another like 235, 236 kind of game coming. And Khan is going to be another good look here, the rook on the back-to-back, or no, they're not playing back-to-back, but second game in 3 nights. And he is the sort of guy coming in for Brandon Miller. That's what the model is telling us as well. If I pull up Shah here and pull up Khan, you're going to see him at 32.5 minutes for the rook, right? That's a direct relation to Brandon Miller being out, right? We already have him listed out, and the model knows as soon as somebody's listed out, who am I looking for that comes in and makes up for that guy's absence, right? And Khan has been the guy that's doing that. We have him at 13 points, but again, the model's still kind of catching up because we only have this much data on the rook. We don't even have data from last year to talk about with him. But it's the shot attempts at 12, the ability that the fact that we have intel about the coach Lee loving Khan and talking about how he feels like he can put him in at the end of games and keep him out there. So I'm going to look at him in this one and probably nobody else for Charlotte. Still got Novig as the sportsbook of the week on landerbets.com. It's a sportsbook exchange, to be specific, where you can bet against other peers and set your own lines, have your peers come in and take your bets as well that you list on the app. So if you don't yet have an account with them, available in pretty much every state, especially the key ones like California, Texas, this is where you want to definitely use a sportsbook exchange since you don't have access to traditional sportsbooks. Go ahead and sign up using code LYB. That'll get you all the free bonus bets and everything that you get for signing up for Novig using that code. And then just email me, let me know that you signed up using code LYB. I'll go ahead and get you free access for a month to landerbets.com. You can get access to all of these projections as well as all the bets that I'm putting down for the NBA. I haven't had a chance yet to get a look at the Kings and the Thunder. Thunder just ended their game against the Mavs with a win there. A couple of nice bets. I will say we were about 500 on the night here on Monday night. Had some nice bets with some guys on the Rockets and the Nets game, actually predicting that blowout and then getting some nice hits there. But other than that, we were pretty much 500 on the night. I think we're up by 0.3 units. But either way, do want to talk about this game here, the Knicks and the Bucks. That's who I do have some research done already for. And we are going to see Kuz now is questionable. Not sure if he's going to play. He left the last game. Also have Cole Anthony questionable. And that's why Ryan Rollins probably is up to 21.5 PRA. You know that we've been targeting him in the last couple games ever since Kevin Porter Jr. went down, and he's still hurt as well in this one. Cole Anthony, the other guy, right? So I do think Ryan Rollins is going to be a guy that comes in, still continues to make the same sort of contributions that he has been, but we've had him projected at about 21 or so PRA, and that's what they have him at now. That's why we took an over in the last game, is because we had the projection a lot higher than what the lines that were being given to us, right? So if I pull him up right now, we have him still at 29 minutes, about 12.5 points, 4.5 assists, 4.5 rebounds. That's 9, about 21, right? So we've had him about 21, 22 PRA as the projection. Now that the line has finally caught up to him, I'm not sure if we can get there with it. One place the line continues to give us value, the market, is AJ Green, and 9.5 points I still like. Look at this dude's free throws, by the way, 4 for 5, 3 for 5, 3 for 5. So he's shooting 5 free throws a game. Take the points. Don't even worry about the threes. I know he's shooting mostly threes, but even 2.5 minus 113, not as good of an edge as the points alone for AJ Green, which if we pull him up on the model right here, has him at about 27 minutes, which is what he's playing every single game. Still have him at 12 points right here, right, for AJ Green. So love that for him. And I still think he should be at about 10 to 12 points per game. So if we're getting 9.5 for even money for him, that's where I'm at. The reason that I'm not like in love with this bet is even with the 27 minutes per night, 6 shots in game 1, 5 shots in game 2, 9 shots last game. He's shooting hot right now. I still think 10 to 12 points is good for this dude per night, and that he's going to continue to be involved in that way in these games. So, yeah, I still like him. I mean, Gary Trent for sure, but we're getting the 9.5 for AJ Green, despite him and Trent playing like the same amount of time, being essentially the same player in a lot of ways. I would say AJ Green can actually do more than Trent because Trent's really just that shooter. So, yeah, I'm going to like AJ Green a little bit more than Ryan Rollins in this one. And to be honest, like, I'm not afraid of all the high numbers for Giannis. I know it sounds ridiculous, mostly points and rebounds that I'm not afraid of, but like Cat is questionable right now. We're looking at this Knicks squad real quick. Cat is questionable, right? And then we know Mitch Robb is not playing. We've got Deuce McBride also questionable. Let me pull up a couple of the other guys here on the bench. And Gershon Yabusele also questionable. Who's stopping Giannis from just walking down the lane? I guess OG and Anunoby, if you think. Like they just don't have any rim protection. Once Giannis carries OG to the rim, then who's helping out OG at that point? Cat? Stop. So, yeah, I think that this might be a Giannis game once again. Like, just play like I might be playing like a 35 and 15 or something ridiculous for him. 35 and just take his 12.5 to the over, that kind of thing. If you look at him last season against the squad, I actually don't remember what he did. Average about the 11 boards there. Yeah, didn't do much on the points. Oh, yeah, they got waxed last season, right? 22, 34. Those were the amounts that they lost by. He's still getting his. I mean, he had 30 and 35 minutes. If you think this is a normal game, that's pretty close. I still think he's good for 35 or so against this squad, and I would be going over on the Rebs as well. And then one guy I wanted to show you on the Knicks that I do like, especially if we don't have our boy Cat in this game. I think the minutes are going to keep ramping up for Hart. 19 in the first game, then 29 in this last game against Miami. I think he comes back and continues to ramp up those minutes. So look, Swish made a really good point, right? Like he's not positive that you can take the rebounds just because he did it when he was playing with Tibbs. Is he going to be the same player when he's under Mike Brown? I think so. I understand having some hesitancy, but I do think so. And I think especially even if Cat is out there, like everybody else is going to have to box Giannis out. And I think that leaves Josh Hart to come in and clean up on the board. So 7.5 or plus money. This might get beat down a little bit to 6.5 too. I think these are good overs for him. Maybe a little sprinkle on a double for Hart. But I will say the pinky's clearly bothering him. I don't know if you want to take him to make shots. He went 1 for 8 against the Celtics, 2 for 5 in this last game. I don't think he's going to make very many threes this season. The points I don't fall in love with nearly as much, but the rebs, like maybe like 8 points if you can get it. But yeah, the rebounds is the best play here if you just want to play a straight bet for Josh Hart. I just realized I actually do like a player on the Thunder, and his name is AJ Mitchell because he's a freaking wagon right now. I think Caruso's still out. Everyone else should play. I'm not positive. I really don't know if they're going to sit anybody, but this dude's a wagon, man. He's been taking like 12 shots per game, took another 14 shots versus the Mavs. He's one of the more trustworthy players, and we've been getting lines for him at like 12.5 points. So I'm going to keep taking that. I think it's going to go up to 13.5. I think 15 plus, though, for him in this game against the Kings. Kings are boo-boo. All right, let's be very clear. This team sucks. I hate that they ruined what was a good thing in Sacramento, if it was. Anyway, they traded Halliburton. They deserve what they're getting. They're going to get their butts kicked, I believe, even though the Thunder had a bit of trouble. It's going to be a tough little road trip right here, right? Finishing up with Sacramento after the Dallas game, but Sacramento sucks. And I still love AJ Mitchell, so I'll be taking him on the points. I just wanted to make that one clear before I move on. And then let's go down to the next game here that I actually want to talk about for a minute, which is the Clippers and the Dubs. Got a really bet that I like in this one, John Collins. Mad that I didn't take Santi Aldama, but please remember, like, if you're coming to this show, what I'm going to keep giving you about teams who play against Golden State, right? This game is in Golden State. Give me stretch fours against Golden State. John Collins, Santi Aldama, anybody else that can shoot from the corner. I'm forgetting a couple of other guys that I always look for, but that's going to be huge, right? Is, like I said, tall guys that can shoot because they can stay out there and rebound against a sort of soft interior for the Dubs, and then also step out and hit the spot up. And Golden State gives up a ton against the spot, like bottom 5 in the last 3 seasons, really, since Kerr got there. They've been a bottom team defensively against spot up shooting, and that's what John Collins is doing a ton of. Now, he's run pretty hot as well, but this is the type of matchup that I like for him. So the points, they're still going to be good, and the rebounds, if we get 5.5, 6.5, I still think that's good for the PR. Like, I think 20 PR is a nice number here if we can get some plus money on that for John Collins in this game. And then one other guy that I wanted to bring up is going to be on the Dubs. I don't even think he's pulled up yet. So it's going to, because they're playing right now as I'm speaking, but it's going to be Al Horford. You're going to see a nice correlation, I believe, this season. Al Horford's going to be used sparingly. So he's not going to play very many minutes unless he's needed, and he's not going to play back-to-backs. And he's sitting tonight against Memphis, so he's available for the second leg tomorrow against the Clippers. Why? Because the Clippers have a giant man in the middle named Ivica Zubac. They have another giant man coming in Brook Lopez as a backup, and they have John Collins, who's a very, very nice-sized power forward who can definitely even bang with fives at times, right? So you're going to need to be big against this team, not to mention Kawhi Leonard and Derrick Jones Jr. also on this squad. They need to be big for this game, and I think they will be in terms of the Dubs. So you're going to see Al Horford get some minutes. You're going to see some Quentin Post out there too. This is going to be a game for the bigs, for the Dubs, and those are going to be the types of players that I'm going to be targeting on Tuesday. All right, appreciate the time, y'all. Definitely remember, if you do want to get into landyourbets.com, you can get a free month if you want. Go ahead and sign up for Novig and let us know you did that. I'll get you the free access for a month so you can check out the projections and the bets that we're putting down on the site, get access to the Discord as well, and all that good stuff. Going to be coming out with NFL early lines here on Tuesday with Nate, and then Wednesday we'll have the Thursday night football video, but NBA every night. You know what it is right now. We're in the middle of things. So best of luck to everybody. Until I see y'all next, happy betting.